Hey, welcome back everybody. Alright, we are back in Path of Exile and we're doing another test run. Unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to level this one beforehand, so we'll be doing some leveling tonight. But the idea is to go Phys DoT Chieftain. I don't know how well this is going to work. Mostly this is going to be done for the explode. But I wanted to talk real quick about why we switched off of the looper. So we were playing around with the life loop assassin, and it wasn't terrible, but it had some problems. So what I ended up going with was Burden of Shadows as the method to scale, and you can see here we're getting somewhere around 1,000. Let's see, 773, 1,000 flat chaos. So that's the damage that we're getting off of that, and that's just, you know, the big flat number, which is good. It's a good start. We would obviously get the life number higher. The problem that I was having is, how do I make this something that is approachable in a league start scenario? And that's where we were falling apart. So just to kind of show, I need to, there it is. All right, so in order to kick things off, we need to summon a bunch of minions, or summon some minions, and then our loop is going. And I did take the time to actually set up the to dust jewels. We don't have any cooldown reduction, so it's still the quarter-second rotation there. And there are a bunch of spells we can choose from, but ultimately we're in Blood Aqueducts, and it's just not enough. So even with Assassin's Mark, it's struggling, and we're sacrificing a lot in the way of EHP to do it, and it just doesn't feel great. So that is ultimately why we're giving up on it. I do think there is potential here for a second build or a late game build or something to transition into, but it's not something that I feel comfortable even trying to start. Hey, how's it going, Esther? Welcome. But yeah, so this is where this landed. Again, this has a great deal to do with the amount of investment we have in things that are not damage. So this is all life, mana recoup, duration, gems, and then we have pain attunement, which is one of our only sources of damage. I think it is our only source of damage. That's it. So that is a lot of the reason, but it's still crazy underwhelming right now. Me early this time? Yeah. So yeah, that's where this sits. So not gonna start this. It is an interesting thought project though, and something that might be worth revisiting later. Also, setting up a good looper is very satisfying. I forgot how satisfying it is. But yeah. So ultimately, we're switching, and I was having trouble figuring out another approach that I want to try. Ultimately, this is all like immaterial until tomorrow, because tomorrow we get the actual announcements, and it looks like there are new skills and new supports. So we'll see what that like gives us as far as tools to build with. I'm pretty sure there are also a lot of rumors about new ascendancy classes or altered ascendancy classes, so we'll see where all that goes as well. But until then, what if we're just tanky and also have explode? Healing spells just happen is truly great. It really is. It really is. I really should set up a looper this league. Maybe we'll set up the energy shield loop that everybody was doing this league. Oh yeah. So the announcement of the quality of life for skills, I think, has already impacted the skill gem market, and it has done one very specific thing, and it is that it seems like Charthus gems have increased in price significantly because they are now the hardest to get. Ooh, I wonder if there's going to be any new trans gems. That would actually be awesome. Why are they hard to get now? They are the hardest to get. So now, since mercenaries are no longer here, all of the Charthus gems are heist rewards. So you can only get them in heist. The most recent announcement from GGG on the new quality of life is that now when you get the transfigured version of the gem like reward from the end of the lab, you get to pick which one you want. It's not random. So the desirable trans gems just got way easier to get, which, you know, great for those prices, but it means that comparatively the Charthus gems are now way harder to get than any other gem. And as far as I know, Bladefall of Charthus doesn't have a breakout like crazy build. There are people using it with one of the new int stacking staves, but that was it. And on trade right now, Bladefall of Charthus is 2 div. I don't need to go here. Which is a shame, because if I go for a Phys DoT build, I'm gonna want Bladefall of Charthus. Which maybe means I just heist. You make builds. What Phys max hit do you aim for when mapping? I don't generally. Like, if it says 10, 20k, then I'm usually okay with it. If it's worse than that, if I have block, I'm okay. I don't know. It's weird. Phys max hit is rough. But I feel like 15's a good place to be for mid maps. Hold on, let me just pull up an example. Oof. Okay, 6.5k. $6.5k for mid maps. Red maps getting to 10k. Endgame 16k. $17k. $20. I'm considering dropping Cloak of Flame. I understand, like, intellectually, I understand Cloak of Flame is incredibly good, but I really hate Cloak of Flame. It feels like such a bad chest piece. Like something about having what 40 ES base on your chest piece, it feels so bad. We need to fix fire res. That's not too terribly difficult. I mean, you need to do it, of course, but it's a very achievable thing. I forgot a total, like a whole bust. Oof. He gives me 50k Phys max, but I could run a DPS chest. I mean, do you have a double corrupt? I've made a mistake. A 50% reduced extra crit. Any of the doubles feel pretty out of value. +2 duration for 400D. Oof. Is that standard price? Yeah. Phys DoT corrupting fever 100% bleed? No. Oddly enough, bleed and Phys DoT don't mix super well, which is super weird because you would think that they would. Phys DoT modifiers will scale bleed. However, bleed is a... Oh man, let me see if I can remember this correctly. Bleed is an ailment and requires you to have an attack. I don't think there are any ways to bleed without an attack. Phys DoT is entirely spell-based, and the corrupting fever, specifically the corrupted blood debuffs, are all debuffs and not afflictions. Which means anything that you would use to scale afflictions usually is not going to apply to corrupted blood. Well, except for like Phys DoT multi. But it is super sad because if they did work together well, then we could do things like, what is it, Champion or Glad? I think it's Glad. Because Glad has an incredibly good synergy with Bleed. And used to have an incredibly good synergy with all Phys DoT, but does not anymore. which made me very sad when they made that change. Like, they made Glad better overall, but Glad used to be the best place for Phys DoT, and is not anymore. Alright, what is my... Like, I'm just curious what my life regen is right now. $317. I am lagging for some reason. Oh. Large lag spike there. Alright, so here's the real question I've got for everybody. Do you think... Or, I guess, how radical do you think the endgame rework is going to be in the next league? And I have an opinion here, and it's like a little crazy. Fire res, nice. Yeah, it's gonna be where we go with that. Because, yeah, currently I'm thinking the endgame rework. Like, we already know they're going to change things about... Well, okay, we know that Horizon Orbs are likely gone, which means they're likely changing the way tiers work or advancement works. But I wonder how, like, far-reaching that's going to be. Especially... because I think it's going to be pretty significant. Like, I think the way we interact with maps is likely going to be significantly altered, and it is due to like a single kind of a reach. I'm gonna pull up the announcements. Okay. Alright, so this is what has me thinking that the endgame rework is going to be super big, because I haven't seen anybody talk about this. I'm sure someone has, but the like title of the league is Mirage, right? That right there is a map. Like that outline is a map. So I think the end game is going to be a significant change, because even like the title of the league is at least to my eyes showing a map as like the base of the league mechanic. But that's my opinion. Use hemophilia. Hemophilia does not work with corrupted blood. Hemophilia is specifically bleeding. Why am I lagging? Okay. Excellent. Okay. Okay. right. That hurt a lot. Okay, good stuff. Okay. What level are we? 29. I think we're high enough to get Blade Fall. Even though we wouldn't be able to in League. Where are you at? There you are. Okay. Now, okay, before we go and do that, 67 decks. Still not enough decks. All right, where is life tap? Take that off. Corrupting fever, shield charge. Okay. What gems do we have that we can use? I think nothing here. Yeah. I could maybe get a Phys DoT wand. Or a level to Phys wand. But that's kind of it. Alright. So we do that. But you know what we have to do? Okay, we have to go. So we have to go to the library. Okay. 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 There we go. So this should do a couple of things for us. Mostly it gives us, I think, brutality early. If not, it will give us efficacy, which is huge. Okay, where was the last golden page? Did I miss it somewhere? Okay, we need... none of these, honestly. Wait, what? I'm very confused by that support. Oh, right, we need to actually talk to him. Okay, so we need, number one, a brand. Okay, storm brand, done. And then we need, what else? Efficacy. And brutality. Do we even have access to brutality? I don't see it, but I could be missing it. No. What else? White Chieftain for Phys DoT. What support I'm looking at POB? I'm looking at what supports I want for Erupting Fever. I suppose that's fine. So White Chieftain for Phys DoT. Phys DoT doesn't scale super well on most classes. Like most ascendancies don't do Phys DoT super well. Elementalist is by far the best when it comes to damage and probably survivability. But if I don't want to play Elementalist, then Chieftain gives a ton of potential survivability, so potential tankiness without very much investment, and also has an explode mechanic. And that explode mechanic is a way to propagate corrupting fever and give corrupting fever a ton of clear with very little effort. So tankiness and explode. I think that's all we can do right now is efficacy. I suppose Swift Affliction. Do I want to do Swift Affliction though? Wait, can I even do Swift Affliction? No, it's level 31. I'll just wait. I just heard you say some support was weird. Oh, controlled destruction, or not, controlled blaze. The one I was looking at. Seems very peculiar to me. Block and bleed pop. So the issue there is you're talking about bleed, which is not necessarily Phys DoT. Bleed is something that you can trigger with attacks, but you, to the best of my knowledge, cannot trigger bleeds with spells. Which means that for Corrupting Fever or Corrupting Cry, Gladiator is not compatible. I wish it were. I cannot tell you how much I wish it were, but it is not. I'm not going to, but Primal Roar from the Feral line would be kind of funny with Battle Skeletons. One click, 76% attack speed. That is a lot of attack speed. Okay. I do so little damage right now. Actually, how close is this to leveling? Not even a little bit. Although now that I think about it, we could go Ascend. I think I want a couple more levels before I ascend. I thought it was just clunky to bleed with spells, but there are actually no sources of spell bleed. Yeah, it's rough. It is actually really sad because I think bleed with spells would be a lot of fun. But yeah, they're all like debuffs and not ailments, which is the big difference. Not sure how it would happen, but I would consider Fortify. Fortify is the thing you could consider. I'm actually considering, again, depends highly on the announcement tomorrow and what all we find out. But the other thing that I'm considering is going champion flicker. Specifically champion impale flicker. The only thing that's like making me not want to do that is how awful bossing is. Impale flicker is fun. It just Maven is the only reason I'm considering, like I'm hesitating. I've mentioned it, but the first ultra DPS I made was Impale Flicker. Yeah, Impale Flicker is so good. But yeah, it would be a Impale Flicker Wind Burst is I think the build I would go for. Because of course I need to make it more complicated than it should be. And Wind Burst is fun. I actually wonder if Wind Burst is going to get changed at all. Build was completely bereft of defenses or quality of life. I mean, at the time, defense was entirely kill it before it kills you. That just focused on damage so hard. Yeah. I mean, that was what everybody did at the time. At least everybody in softcore. I had no resists either. Alright, that's pretty bad. But 370 mil, that was crazy. Yeah. I don't think I've ever reached that much. I usually get bored with builds before I get to that point. Ooh. Corrupting Fever's about to level up. That's probably going to make a huge difference. Okay, so this is about to go from... I actually don't know. Oh, 41 per second is the current physical damage per second.
Have you ever seen the true face of God, Exile?
251. It wasn't as dramatic as I thought it would be, but still a big increase.
Shrink not from the touch of God.
No curse yet? No.
The touch of
I should probably have a curse, but no, I don't have one.
Shrink not from God.
It's a good call, though. I should have one.
The touch of God. Die.
What are your thoughts on Point Blank? I don't have many. I do very few projectile builds.
The touch of God. Die. The touch of God.
What's your one prediction for 328? I think maps are going to change.
The touch of God. Die. This world is an illusion, Exile.
I think maps are going to significantly change. Okay. Alright. Isn't a fast Dominus by any stretch of the imagination, but We'll get there. I guess shield. We'll check that out. See if it's any good. That's a lot of block chance. Yeah, that's an easy upgrade. All right. You. Wait, do you not have curses? Yeah, you have curses. Vulnerability. Okay. Any crit chance somewhere? You could grab. Wait, are you using spells? I forgot I'm using crit support, not attack. It's expensive, but you could do the bleed. Mastery. Like it's 4 points, but it's, I think it's 100% crit. Do you know Phys damage? Well, never mind. You can't do that then. What type of damage do you deal? % chaos. That is the least helpful type. That's not true. It's fire is the least helpful type. But chaos is the second least helpful because there are answers for cold and lightning. Precision, maybe? Or a Watcher's Eye with something with precision? I want to level up one more time, I think. Or 2 more times. One more time? One more time. I have a 1.7 Hatred Watcher's Eye. That which was taken with 0.96. I might just not cap it. Are you using a diamond flask? To Abrath, who's proc corrupting? Yes, they do. They're a little on the annoying side to use, but you can do it. Okay, how about an Assassin's Mark? What about what is it, Bottled Faith? Bottled Faith. Oh, wait, does Bottled Faith do crit anymore? Bottled Faith and Diamond would get 100%, but I can't spare 2 slots. I can just not cap, I guess. Okay. No, I want the damage. Try that. Okay. Never done an Abrath's build of any sort, but I've always wanted to for some reason. Seems like the easiest early auto bomber. It is. I have tried to do an Abrath's build, like with Abrath, I think it's Abrath's Fury actually doing the damage. It is quite annoying to have that do the damage. Mostly because of the very small AoE that it naturally has, and then in order to do damage to something, you basically have to like run over to it like this and just be like, oh, I'm doing damage to you. I'm doing damage to you. Now, if they introduce WASD, that will become way better. I think, maybe. But as is, it can get annoying. At least that was my experience. Now, the ignite propagation on it is incredibly good. So if you get a good ignite build and use Aberrath to proliferate the ignite, and maybe even strength stack the fire damage, that is another story. My Val Earthquake build was fun, but it was a pain. Yeah. Okay, let's go ascend. Hopefully it's not too much pain. I actually have a little bit of hope that Phys DoT skills are changing in 328. The very long teaser that they did, like the quality of life one, several of the characters in that trailer were using Phys DoT skills. Though, kind of funny, not gonna lie, stack like 500 procs in one step on bosses, yeah. Alright, let's see how this goes. I still do like 0 damage, so... we will see.
You are relentless. Give no quarter.
Okay.
Such resilience. Time is not to be wasted.
Okay. All right. Phys DoT was big this league. Might get a nerf. Wouldn't be the first time. Teasers foreshadow a nerf. It would not be. But Phys DoT has not been in a great place. Like Phys DoT was popular, but I don't think it's in a great place. Actually, Bleeds might be in the best place of all like Phys DoT archetypes. Exsanguinate I think is okay. Reap has always been great, but I think Reap is better as a on hit than it is a dot skill. And then Corrupting Cry is It is good, but very limited. And then Corrupting Fever gets to 1 million easy, gets to 3 million with pretty nice investment, and then struggles to get further unless you dump tons of currency into it. At least that's, again, I am not the authority on Phys DoT, but that is my experience. And people do it anyway because it, like, you can automate it. Like, Bladefall of Charthus makes it easy to automate, and you can just have an auto bomber that does reasonable damage and is tanky. If so, I hope it's not the conversion to Ellie side. Pure Phys needs some buffs. Hopefully. Yeah, I think Phys spells still need help. Pure Phys, like, slams, I think are in a pretty okay spot. I've actually seen some people predict that slams are going to get nerfed. I don't know about that. There is part of me that thinks Elementalist is going to get nerfed again. I'm not sure though. It might be fine, but Elementalist to me feels super strong. I hope not. Melee was so bad for so long, it needs some time to shine. No, agree 100%. I agree 100%. I actually think melee probably needs more work because there are a lot of melee skills that just aren't touched. Although I suppose that can be said about a lot of skills. I keep wanting to see something that I know I'm never going to, but I'm going to keep dreaming that it's going to happen. I want transfigured herald skills. Like, I want a transfigured Herald of Thunder that does not buff spells or attacks, but has the ability to scale with spell damage. And it is a pipe dream. I actually think pipe dreams might be more realistic. But they did it to Righteous Fire, so I'm gonna hold on to hope.
Choose your path.
Okay. The explode here would be fantastic.
No two battles are alike. Your destination is more dangerous than the journey ascended.
Okay. Pure auto bomber skill. Yeah, it would be nice. All right, Chieftain, and we're going straight into explode. I think I would want it on this. Is the quality. Okay. Now back to Act 4. I've ended up with Phys DoT Chieftain at some point in the last 6 leagues. The Explode is just too addicting. The Explode is very addicting. But the Explode serves an additional purpose here because of the way that Corrupting Fever works. So, Corrupting Fever is applied on any hit, which means that sources of Explode on Corrupting Fever builds can propagate the Corrupting Blood. So anything that gets hit by anything gets a Corrupted Blood stack. If your single Corrupted Blood stack is powerful enough to kill white mobs, then any source of Explode is going to chain, which is super nice. And that is the thought behind using Chieftain Explode. It is an easy source of Explode that covers a large portion of the screen. Hopefully, maybe, I don't know. Is it going to be worth it? No clue. Alright, let's go save Deshret. Hockey version could be fun, probably squished though. I think Occultist could be fine. Getting the life would be a little harder, but I don't think like terribly harder. The bigger issue that I had with Occultist is you need a source of curse on hit, which very, very feasible, like can be done, but you need a source of curse on hit because you need to be able to propagate. And Occultist only explodes things that are cursed, whereas Chieftain explodes anything. Minus 35 mana blasphemy. I would absolutely just sacrifice a glove. Like corrupted pair of gloves. That would be how I go about that. Be like curse on hit, despair. All right. Azanath gives an extra explode. It does. Azanath has... I'm trying to think if Azanath is a good choice. Like Azanath is an okay choice if you don't have a better option, but you're giving up a potential good rare glove. And I don't know that it has anything other than the explode. Again, nothing against Azanaths. I like the glove. It's just, I don't know. Something in my brain has to compare a unique to the potential of the rare in the same slot, you know? And when the rare in the same slot can have a ton of other stuff, I don't know. That being said, I was talking about putting a corrupted glove, which would probably be unique anyway, so... Curse on hit, thought hockey still, that's true. Where am I going? Oh, you know what? I need to go over and grab Veteran Soldier. Yeah, that's a good point. Azanath is a good cheap choice for curse on hit. Scaling health gets a little harder, but it's not something you can't, like, it's nothing you can't overcome. It's not like you're that far away from all the health things. Hockey Toxic Ring was my main build a few years back. Chaos Pop skid with AoE was nice. Yeah, that Chaos, the pop on Occultist is actually kind of huge. one of the one of my earliest successes on a build, I think it was the first build I killed Maven on. No, that's not true. But one of the first, like, I made this build moments for me was a Poison Herald of Thunder build, which was awful. But it was on an occultist, and it was in Sanctum League. And it's actually really nice. But those chaos pops were super great for solving the clear issue that Herald of Thunder has. I don't want any of that. How badly are golems getting deleted tomorrow? I think they're in trouble. I'm not gonna be shocked if they get hit. The weird thing is, though, I don't know how hard they're gonna get hit. Because it's a weird situation, right? Because golems are not good enough that everyone is using them, which means they're not in an awful spot. Or at least I haven't noticed everyone using them. If you can fit them and you can keep them alive, then sure, maybe you use them. But if you're an elementalist, you are absolutely taking the golem node. So I don't know if golems are going to get hit or if elementalist is going to get hit again. There's just so much socket pressure on other utility. Kind of need to nerf LA buff or something. Yeah, and they did last league, but I don't think it was enough to not make that the only option. And I don't know that there's a number that they can hit that doesn't, or that solves that, right? Because even if it didn't have a buff, just your golems revive, and then the new golem stats, which give you a bunch of different stats, I think that might be too powerful and too flexible to turn down on any elementalist. I think they did 50% last league. Yeah, they went from like, I don't remember what it was. It was like 80 to 50 or something. But again, I don't know if there's a number that's low enough. Which is not a bad thing. Like that means that golems are good and attractive and flexible. So it's very possible that Elementalist just gets away with it. I think the only other option they have is to take the auto revive out of Elementalist and put it somewhere else. Because if they do that, then they can bring some of the buff back to Elementalist and like crank it back up a little bit. All right, 1 second. Looks like I'm getting a phone call. All right, we're back. But yeah, I mean, okay, so on the subject of golems, this is actually really great. We have damage over time multi. We have critical strike chance, which now that I think about it, Esther, you said you needed crit chance. Here's an ice golem. Generic increased damage, life regen, attack and cast speed, and mana regen, which is always awful. Like, pick 4 buffs that you want constantly, and one of them is 20% increased defenses at level 1. It's wild. I ran mana regen on my archmage. Yeah, it's crazy how good it is. Which, you know, I'm not gonna complain, because like mana issues suck. Nobody wants to deal with mana issues. But it's for that reason that I don't know that they can do anything to Elementalist to make that node not a 100% take. Format? Okay, there we go. What do y'all think of the uptime on normal ice golem? I could use it instead of lightning trap. I'd lose shock on bosses, minus 10% single burst, but gain 5% all the time if it lives. Not sure. So my experience has been, as long as there are not ground degens, they do okay. If you have enough room, I like to put them on cast when damage taken. It's probably a bad practice, but I like to put them on cast when damage taken. Cast when damage taken or cast when stun is my normal. Gotcha. Yeah, so I would just put them on one of those. And then level it up to 20 and hope for the best. You know, you could also, if you have the passive points, you could do the minions created recently cannot die. It would need lifelink too. Oh, so it doesn't because you're you don't have the mana. So I could just link it when I leave Sam. You have 100% mana reserved. Nice. Oh, you know what? I just thought about it. Esther, are you excited about Crimson Desert? I got a smidge more reservation efficiency, so I added Purity Herald. Nice. It's like $70. It is like $70. That is 100% accurate. Which, you know, for me it means next month minus $70. Actually, it's not true. For me, it's minus double that because my wife saw the trailer I was watching and she was like, "I want that." I'm looking forward to it. Did any of the trailers show actual gameplay? Yeah, they've actually released quite a few actual gameplay trailers. Okay, the last 3 or so, they did like a series going through features and stuff, and the latest one had all the combat stuff, which was like, it actually showed the combat gameplay. The combat look to me, I'm not a Black Desert veteran, but to me it looks like BDO. No clue if my computer can handle it. Yeah, that's a really valid question. I think it's gonna be a heavy game. Could I manage this somewhere else? Probably. I don't know. Maybe we'll do that in a second. Oh, you know what? I just thought about it. I've been putting that switch off for a while. Totally forgetting that was there. Actually, are there classes? I don't think so. It seems to be entirely weapon based, but I don't know. And they did not show a skill tree. Not that there isn't one, they just haven't shown it, as far as I know. Again, I've watched like 3 videos. Are there gloves over here? Oh, those will work. Need to look into it more, I guess. I'd love single player BDO since the MMO grind is the worst part. Yeah. I'm pretty excited for it. But I'm not hard to win over, because they were like, "Hey, we're releasing a game. It's entirely single player and it will not have any microtransactions." And then they told Sony that they would not do a deal to have it as a timed exclusive. And that combination is just a really good way to get me to buy a game. Did I already do this? I felt like I already did that. I did already do that. Okay. All right, 98.3 to 121. Very nice. Okay. I love percents in PoB on builds with high DPS. Ah yes, plus 3%. Where am I at? I forgot they buffed Shaper HP. Did they? Okay. And almost done. It's a very relaxed piety. So redact that. Plus half shaper per second. It's a ridiculous amount of damage. Absolutely ridiculous. Still no new teasers. I was hoping we would get a teaser today. It looks like we are not getting a teaser today. I guess we'll just have to be patient and wait another, what, 12 hours? Well, or like 18. Ow. But you know what? Let me be smart about this. Let me be smart about this. All right, 2 red, 1 blue. Is that the only thing we got? Yeah. All right. I mean, not that it matters. All right. Red, blue, 38. Aw. I was hoping we would have it ready. Oh well. And here I thought I was being smart. Okay. I'm gonna try and farm up the next level before I go in there. If I can't get a better glove implicit, +2 max cold instead of +1, then I think I could hit 2 billion. Alternatively, if I'm willing to drop some recoup, which would be make my sustain a bit worse. Are you still working on the looper? Improving lightning strike? Gotcha. Oh, that's right. You said earlier you were working on an attack build. Okay. That hurt. So close to leveling. If I got 2% on the glove, then I'd save 2 points, which would get 2 billion easily. I mean, that seems feasible. Okay. His damage there, which brings me to 127 per. And then brutality right there, which brings me to 159 per. Okay.
In this moment, you and I will create the most beautiful of nightmares together. Creation? Out of the realm of the gods, isn't it?
I did end up just going cloak. Ends up with 67k max Phys. Nice. Alright, now we're getting some damage. It's almost like adding supports makes a difference.
What?
Alright. I'm missing some recoup though, annoyingly. I need 48% for full mitigation and only have 34. So if I take too much, I don't leech, then it'll hurt. Yeah.
Now, let us see if you truly understand what it means to be Nightmare.
Normally I try and cancel out Progen Petrified. Yeah, that is always my preference. It always feels really nice having enough recoup that you cancel all that out. Because then you can still be one shot, but it is almost like you're taking, what is it, like 48% less damage? And if you're taking 48% less damage and you have 45% less health, then you are just net positive EHP.
Accept the gift of immortality.
We got 48% progen, but dropping ring for enemies messed up the recoup. Oh yeah. That would do it. I'm considering setting a goal for myself this coming league to farm a mage blood on a build. Because I've only had a mage blood one time and it was Affliction League, and I don't know that that counts. Because mage blood and Affliction League was like 20 C, or 20 divine.
Why are you so in love with death or being selfish?
right. I liked Mage Bullet a lot more when flasks had mana reduction. Fair. Basically any spell ignorable. Ignorable. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I'm kind of curious now. Really fun to have like 0 mana Archmage builds. Yeah. Okay. Oh. What if we were to do a Flicker Strike? Taunt. Okay. We need Flicker Strike, Multi-Strike, Wind Burst. And we're actually going to try and focus on the Wind Burst as our source of damage. So in a starter scenario, we're going to go Terminus. Impale. Or Phys damage reduction. Do I care about melee? No, I don't. No, I don't. I do care about crit strike chance, and we do care about precision. And pride. Sniper's Mark. What is the name of... it's Fury Valve. Do I go this way? Yeah, the real issue is I'm not gonna know what full DPS actually looks like on here. I wonder if that would work. What else do we have? I guess we have this two-handed right here. One, two, three, four, five. What is the impale chance? %. Arrogance. I think it's just a 95% hit chance, and then we go accuracy rating at close range. Oh, right. We need fortify. Is it the only fortify on the tree? Just the 6 here? I think it is, actually. Okay. One, two, three, four, five, 6. Visual damage. Pierce, slower proj. Definitely don't want slower proj. Does this work? Let's see. fortify. Yeah, I believe that's it. As far as max fortify goes. And I'm wondering. What is my unreserved mana? I do actually have enough for that. I can do Herald of Purity for a nice chunk. Or I could do Blood Stance. I think Flesh and Stone is better for now. And Blood Stance. And then we do, is it Perseverance? Air templates, body armor, armor evasion. Helmet, armor evasion. Gloves, armor evasion, and boots, armor evasion. $500,000 with Terminus. Doesn't seem too bad. And that's assuming I go Pride, Flesh, and Stone. What happens if I go Grace Determination? I leave off Flesh and Stone. Pride. Okay, naturally without pride we have less damage. 16% mana reserved. We have way more armor ES. And then if we do flasks, let's see, we would need a granite, with armor during effect. A basalt with doesn't matter. A jade with evasion during effect. And a, which one is it? Dimonite. I'm not sure how worth that's gonna be, or that would be, but this would feel pretty tanky, I think. I'm running pretty hard up against like an awful allocation. This tree is not very good. Honestly, this probably isn't worth it. You'd always grab these. I think I still need to do this. Anything else I'm missing? I mean, probably this. Is the enemy taunted? Yes. Somehow misplaced my enhance. I hate it when that happens. Honestly, this is becoming tempting. Marked for death, naturally. Oh wait, marked for death. Cull. I hate Cull so much. Like, I understand it's good, but it feels awful to play with. Like, well, okay. It feels awful to allocate. Alright, per point, Blade Master. Really, is Blade Master better than... $58, $69, okay, yeah, so I'm just gonna remove that. Art Seeker, of course. And Destroyer, of course. I'm incredibly jealous. Your hexes can affect hexproof, critical strikes have culling strike, critical strike chance of maximum power, and your enemies. Oh, I missed that which was taken. It was so nice. It had so many things that could be done. I used the jewel for all my call. I try and ignore call. Or if I'm doing a POB, what I'll do is like something like Stormbrand, Rolling Strike. Then I don't have to care. Like, it throws up my DPS, but at least I don't have to worry about Cull showing up. Cull provides me 200 million, or is it? Yeah, 200 million. It's annoying, but if you use golems, you can link into that. Nice. Yeah, in the actual game, I generally just don't care about effective onslaught. I generally don't care about cull. Like, it's nice to have, but it's not real damage in my brain. 10% more? It's not 10% more. You ignore the last part of the fight, which is fine, but it's not 10% more. You don't deal 10% more damage. As much as I hate it, I might actually use this. And it's just because it's the closest mark to me. Probably fine. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, so Grace Determination gets us here. If we do not go Grace Determination and instead do Pride, Flesh and Stone, we hit 1,000,000. Which again, I believe is way more than 1,000,000, given that Wind Burst is going to go nuts. It does skew the % more damage to enemies on the life kind of modes. Do you spec point blank on your wind burst? I haven't, but I don't know if I should. Point blank is one of those things where, like, I kind of understand it, but I don't understand, like, I don't know how good it would actually be. Depends on bounces, I guess. Yeah. Like, if it hits when I spawn them, maybe. But if it doesn't hit when I spawn them, then it's bad. Yeah, exactly. More bounces make it worse. Which more bounces is what I would want. But I don't know how regularly all the wind bursts hit when I spawn them. So, it's hard to say. I'm not mad at this, though. This is not awful. Especially because I'm pretty sure the way this actually ends up going is... what? Would this be 3 times 1, 2, 3? I mean, it would be 9, I think. Probably more like 10. Depending on how well I hit them. Because it's 3 base projectiles, right? Yeah, fires 3 base projectiles, which then all trigger Fury Valve, which splits them into 3 more projectiles each. I think it's actually more, but Fury Valve and Wind Burst is hilarious. Maybe we send that. I don't know. There's so much we could do. And I don't know what I want to do. I do think this would be fun. I think Windburst is a lot of fun. And I think I thought of a way to make this not awful for Maven. So usually we do like double strike for Maven and stuff. So instead of doing flicker strike or double strike, we do something like Helix, which takes away the entire point of multi-strike. But Spectral Helix will still trigger the Windburst. It also allows us to put in another red, but I don't know what. Phys DoT Chieftain log in? Maybe. Maybe. I guess we go cruelty here. Yeah, something to think about. Alright. I think we're gonna end a little early today, unfortunately. It has been a lot of fun, and Phys DoT Chieftain is still a possibility. The explode works okay. I think it would work better once we get into like more dense areas like maps, and once our Erupting Fever is actually doing enough damage to kill something, which wouldn't take a horribly long time. It's just getting this and then building up to Spiritual Aid and Acrimony. And that's all of our damage. All of our damage on the tree is in those places. And then we need a good weapon, which I think has to be a staff. I don't know. Maybe not. Honestly, our best bet early is probably Cold Iron Point. But yeah, this is certainly a possibility. But we will see what tomorrow has. The question is, how tanky is it? It should be very tanky. Chieftain can get quite tanky, and that's like the reason I was considering it, is because this on its own, if you're going with an armor life build with these nodes, you're gonna feel pretty tanky. And then we can probably do something like some of the bloodlines for either extra damage or extra tank. But yeah, could be pretty good. Alright, well that's where we're going to leave it for tonight. Thank you all so much for joining me. Very comfy auras, yeah. Yeah. Tomorrow we find out so much more information. I will not be streaming the live stream itself, but I will be watching it and trying to figure things out. So on Saturday, we're going to be theory crafting and probably testing with all the information we have. So that is the plan. Thanks again everybody for watching, and I'll see you on Saturday.